Hey, what's good? Thanks for pressing play on another Bite Down Boxing video brought to you by the Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel. I'm gonna get in here. I'm getting ready to get on the road to go up here and probably be disappointed that LeBron doesn't play against my Detroit Pistons. I just realized he played last night versus Toronto, so I could be going up here for a disappointment. And then to add salt to the wound, I was going to the Spence and Garcia fight tomorrow night, but after going to this championship fight, going to this game tonight, it just didn't work out logistically. So anyway, I'm just trying to get some thoughts out here before I get on the road. Deontay Wilder with this DAZN, the story of him being rejecting this $100 million deal, reported $100 million deal from the zone, 3 fights, 2 of those possibly being against Anthony Joshua, the fight that most of us want in the heavyweight division. This is just frustrating. So I got a couple of thoughts on it. I'm gonna try to get this up and get out of here for my wife yelling at me to get on this road. But if you know anything about Nas, which happens to be my favorite rapper, throughout the years, this is the tie-in. First, Nas actually retweeted or posted on his Instagram page one of the statements from Deontay Wilder that really resonates a whole lot with me as far as how we interact, how black men or black people interact with one another. And he was just saying something about, we can't even walk down the street as 2 brothers and acknowledge each other. It was from that clip. I don't know what press conference that was. But Nas put this out there a couple months ago on his IG page, and I had never seen that. And I was like, damn, that's some thoughtful stuff. So I like a lot of the message from Deontay Wilder. I just don't always care for his boxing, particularly. His boxing skill, not necessarily him fighting, but just his boxing. But then to bring this full circle, I just thought Deontay Wilder was rejecting this $100 million deal was on some Nas stuff, because if you follow Nas's career, a lot of his projects have kind of been underwhelming. Even as a diehard Nas fan, some of his projects just haven't lived up to what you wanted them to be for a guy with so much ability. So the word is that certain beats that were going to be, they were club songs or club anthems. They were meant to be more commercial and generate record sales. Nas turned those down. He did not want to do those types of songs, which is great to me because I'm a guy who doesn't really like club music. I consider myself more of a thoughtful person. I like to drive and listen to my hip hop. I'm not really a club person. So I like more deeper stuff in my music than just some club stuff. So I was cool with it. But like I said, sometimes I wanted Nas to show me something. So when I got into my top 5 arguments, I could point out, credible projects from Nas. But like Jay-Z let us know, his average of good records really wasn't that great. And like I said, I think it was in part because he turned down some of these better tracks. So let's jump into this, man. Wilder, if you saw it on Boxing Scene, I don't think too many YouTube videos have started really dealing with it just yet. But I saw a post on Facebook from Mr. Rick Glazer, with his viewpoint on it, him weighing in on it. But reportedly, it's 3 fights, 2 of them being with AJ. The first one maybe being the Brazil thing, the Brazil fight, and maybe getting $20 million for that, $40 million for the 2 fights with AJ. And I'm sitting here like, well, what is the reason for turning this down? And I stated this in an earlier video that, maybe working for yourself, making 100 bands is better than working for the man and making, 150 bands or 125 bands or whatever works for you. But maybe just being your own boss is and make it less. Maybe that's acceptable for you. So, okay, I commend Wilder if that's his thing. But now that you went to the moved over into the pay-per-view neighborhood, you know, it just would seem counterproductive to now go back and face, you know, the Konoskis of the world, Brazil. You know, White is out of the picture now that he's across the street with Top Rank. I don't even know some of these other, you know, I can't even say Areola again. I don't even know who was out there for you to even make, you know, the final part of your career against the next 2 to 3, 4 years. I don't know. But I'm just like, well, what's the reason? And you know, some of these guys, it's a couple different cats out here who have direct lines to the Boxing Voice being one. I guess some of the LDBC guys are able to get Deontay on the phone. And maybe even tonight on At the Fights on XM Radio, maybe they can get him on there. But what would be your objection to moving over to DAZN, especially if the money is right? And then I think one of the key sentences or comments from the boxing scene article was Shelly Finkel said, well, you know, with Deontay, his fights are never just about the money, or his deals are just never about the money. So I'm just interested when we can all get a word of what is the reason why you don't want to take this deal. Second point, just to the community out here, you know, what is the pushback to DAZN and being a subscriber of DAZN? Now that we know what we know, initially a lot of us may have thought that DAZN was strictly Matchroom Boxing USA or Eddie Hearn's platform, but now we're learning that, you know, and we've seen other guys go over there. We've seen Tevin Farmer doing some work on Fighting Tonight on DAZN. We see who else is over there? Well, let me not get off my point, but now we see them meeting with taking this meeting with Triple G comes in with his deal, and now we see Deontay getting the sit down with John Skipper, and you know, supposedly Eddie Hearn was not, you know, was told don't show up, you know, he didn't get the memo, did not get invited. But it's like, us as consumers, what is the problem with us paying for what we want? You know, if we want 100% boxing, and here's a platform that's gonna deliver that with some cricket and some Bellator or whatever, but I mean, you can take and leave whatever you want. So if the TV people, obviously we saw the exit of HBO, and Showtime is kind of looking a little questionable right now. And this is after Showtime in 2017 aired over 30 plus title fights for one of the, you know, the major force behind a red hot 2017 that was probably the best year in boxing that I think I've seen since I've been following the sport. But they move over to 2018. They don't have as many title fights. You know, the year isn't as high powered as 2017, but it was still a pretty solid year, a pretty solid follow up. But if you remember back in 18, I believe at the beginning of 18, they flew all the fighters out there, or they had the big announcement ceremony in New York. They laid out what the entire calendar was, who was fighting who. You remember that. This year, I don't even think Showtime has really even put out a schedule for the year. And it just really hasn't, it just seems like a lot is in flux right now. So I'm kind of confused at what is even going on with Showtime. I'm not hearing as much from Stephen Espinosa. It just seems like they're just a little, out here in the wind a little bit. But if we want to say that Deontay isn't going to take this $100 million deal from DAZN because maybe his relationship with Al Heyman is what it is, or his relationship to Showtime, whatever. How could that be the case if they all sending out their resume? Like, what's up, Latours? How could that be the case if right now, tomorrow night, we're getting Spence and Garcia on Fox Sports pay-per-view instead of Showtime pay-per-view. So I don't know if that's what the back of it is, but like I said, I guess we just have to wait until Deontay comes out and speaks on whatever his differences are with with DAZN. Next point, if we want to go for all of the Deontay diehards and the avid supporters of Deontay Wilder, if we want to go back to the whole $50 million situation, I just had this question. I've heard a couple of logical explanations of that from both sides. I've heard some sound clips of different people weighing in. I think what I can surmise from it is the fact is that the 50 million, once you chop it up, this is just Wood's version of it. Once you chop it up, one, he wasn't ready. Let's throw that out there. He wasn't ready for that fight. But two, once you chop up the $50 million, however, whoever was the business ties of Joshua behind the scene, once you chopped up that 50 million, you weren't walking away with 50 million. That's just my thinking on it. But also, if you're a promoter and you have a fighter who you believe is worth or you're confident that this fighter can go on and generate 300, 400, maybe in today's sports world, maybe even $500 million. If that's your thought on that fighter as a promoter, like, why wouldn't you protect him? Why wouldn't you manage and steer him according to your own timeline for him to be what you want him to be? So I just say all that to say, they didn't want to fight at that time. And if you want to say he was scared or he was this or he's a punk, whatever, what more of a compliment can it be? Like, I don't know why this is hurting people so badly. Like, what more of a compliment could it be than to just say you better than us right now? Like, we don't want that smoke right now. Now, they went in, were they really out here? I don't know how words mean so much right now in this world. People have to talk. You have to promote stuff. Pro football teams, the owners have to tell the fans who was the horrible teams this year. The Arizona Cardinals had 16 games to play this year. Do you think they just came out on the first week of the season and said, look, we are going to save y'all some time. We're going to save y'all the next 4 months. We are absolute trash. Right now we got spring training going on. I'm a Tigers fan. Do you think that the owner of the Tigers is going to go out at the beginning of 162 games and tell you all, we are absolute trash? Don't show up. Like, people have to say what they have to say to go, for day-to-day operations. So anyway, like I said, I just don't understand. They didn't want to fight at that particular time. Is that the end of negotiating with them forever? Just like if we want to, I mentioned the video a couple weeks ago with Zion, shutting him down. You shut him down because you think he's going to be, a guy that can generate hundreds of millions of dollars. So we put it out there that maybe he shouldn't play anymore. Jadeveon Clowney at South Carolina, University of South Carolina in college. They didn't want him to play after his freshman year or his sophomore year once Marcus Lattimore tore up his knee. Leonard Fournette, after he came to LSU and ran all over people as a freshman. Maybe he shouldn't play no more. Here in Ohio, at Ohio State, I forgot my man's name now, but the running back that they had as a freshman back in 2003 or whatever. But I just don't understand how Eddie Hearn and Anthony Josh were in the wrong for that. They turned down the money then because they didn't want to look like Michael Grant or something. But here we are to this point. Last point. Claret, Mo Claret. I had Maurice in my head. Mo Claret, exactly. Thanks, Latoris. I'm getting ready to get on off here too, man. Go check this game out. But my last point, I'm almost like, and I was thinking of you, Latoris, when I had this point, man. I'm almost like Tyrese with that crazy video that used to be your avatar. What more do you want at this point? If you're Deontay Wilder, what more can we give you? It's $100 million. If you don't like the flat 40-40 on the second on the AJ fights, if they give you 20 to fight Brazil, you're like plus 15, plus 16 for fighting a dude that you should wipe out. Put that money to the end of it then, and now you make maybe you make 57 for the rematch if there's even a need for a rematch. But again, what more do you want? Like, can we get this fight already? Now, back to Deontay Wilder to close this out. If you're sitting here and you want to, if you're worried about your people and this app, I mean, if your people were going to watch you, they was going to pay for you to be on pay-per-view anyway. They were going to pay $80 for you anyway, or $85 for you. Or if you have a Showtime subscription, you're paying $15 to see the fight on Showtime anyway. So I just don't understand. Again, it seems like we're gonna be moving towards this app where if I'm paying for HBO or Showtime, and you tell me now instead of paying $15 for HBO, you can pay $9 for. It doesn't even have to be DAZN. It could be app XYZ, and now I'm only gonna pay $10 for a boxing app. And 100% of my money goes to support the sport that I want to watch or the content that I want to watch versus, 70 or 80% of my $15 going to pay for the dragons on Game of Thrones. I really just don't understand what the issue is with us paying for what we want to see. And like I said, maybe is there a second app that needs to come online to challenge DAZN? I don't know. But again, I just don't see what the problem is if that's the way that the industry is moving over, if that's the way that things are moving. And I had to argue yesterday with a guy who basically, he comes out and says, well, I really don't even watch boxing anymore. I've given up on it. And he's complaining about the app. But it's like, well, you don't even count. Like, if you're not watching this monthly and weekly, like, you're not even invested in this. Who cares if we lose you? But like I said, if we're moving the game to this app platform and this streaming platform, I'm all right with that. And it looks like that's the way things are going. So, well, like I said, all in all, thanks for anybody that clicked play on this and stuck around for the discussion. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button as 4 people did. I appreciate that 3,000%. But I really just want to hear from Deontay Wilder, what the issue is now. Right now, we got a lot of us out here dealing with conjecture and, breaking it down however we want to see fit. Like I said, Rick Glazer is on Facebook trashing and inflaming Al Heyman based on stuff from years ago. And, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But I just really hope that it gets worked out. It seems like everything is trending in the right direction for for us to get this fight, the Joshua and Wilder fight, and this, in my opinion, should be a hurdle that these guys can get together and work this thing out. And it almost seems, excuse me, it kind of seems like it's easier to make this DAZN thing work than to make the top ranked ESPN Plus thing work. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm gonna get on off here. I'm about to head up to the D to check this game out. See if I can text Rich Paul and see if they can let LeBron play tonight, so I didn't waste my gas money and miss Spence Garcia tomorrow night. I'm pissed off about that. If I'm sitting here watching the I don't know, is Ingram shut down? Or I don't even know if the young players on the Lakers are shut down, but that's what I'm going to do for the night. Everybody enjoy the fight tomorrow night. I'll probably do some kind of recap afterwards. And I'm out of here. 1.